Welcome to Grand Prix, your go-to channel for the fastest updates in Formula One. We've got 3 hot stories for you, so make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay ahead of the pack. Let's get started. The Monaco Grand Prix featured its fair share of controversies, including one particularly heated moment right at the start of the race. Gabriel Bortoleto got off to a strong start, executing an impressive overtake on Mercedes driver Kimi Antonelli. However, just a few corners later, Antonelli responded with an aggressive maneuver to reclaim the position. In the midst of this battle, Bortoleto found himself pushed into the wall, damaging his car and forcing an early pit stop. As a result, he lost the position and dropped to the back of the grid. Let me know in the comments, what did you think of Antonelli's move? Do you think it was a fair piece of racing, or did he force Bortoleto into the wall and deserve a penalty? Speaking on the incident, Bortoleto didn't hold back. He was quite direct, stating that at turn 8, Antonelli made what he called a dive bomb, essentially throwing his car into the corner without fully considering the consequences. Bortoleto noted that this specific corner has seen many accidents in the past, and he genuinely didn't expect anyone to attempt such a risky maneuver there. According to Bortoleto, he had the position clearly secured going into the turn and was caught off guard by Antonelli's aggressive move. Bortoleto even suggested that Antonelli's ego might have gotten the better of him in that moment, especially after being overtaken so decisively by the Sauber. In Bortoleto's words, Antonelli probably didn't take well to being passed by a Sauber driver and reacted impulsively. Despite the early setback, Bortoleto remained positive about his performance. He expressed satisfaction with the progress he made during the race, ultimately finishing in 14th place, a solid recovery considering the circumstances. He mentioned that, for now, he doesn't plan to have a conversation with Antonelli about the incident, not wanting to create any unnecessary tension between them. However, he did express some regret, noting that it was a shame the clash occurred because both drivers had some interesting strategies lined up for what turned out to be a chaotic Monaco Grand Prix. Looking ahead, Bortoleto shared that Sauber will be bringing an important update to their car for the next race in Barcelona. He sounded confident about the team's prospects, suggesting that the upgrade could help them make a significant step forward in terms of performance. So now the big question, what do you think? Are you confident that Bortoleto and Sauber can fight for better positions at the upcoming Spanish Grand Prix? Or do you believe the team will continue to struggle and remain near the back of the grid for the rest of the season? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. The European leg of the season is just getting started, and with new upgrades and strategies coming into play, anything can happen. Stay tuned for all the latest updates and analysis as we continue to cover every twist and turn of this exciting 2025 Formula One season. Hey my friends, how's it going? Tell me, did you just watch the Monaco Grand Prix? What did you think of the race? Do you feel that the recent changes to the regulations really made a difference and led to a more exciting race? Or do you still believe that the Monaco GP should be removed from the Formula One calendar? Well, the winner of this race was Lando Norris, with Ferrari's Charles Leclerc securing 2nd place and Oscar Piastri rounding out the podium in 3rd. This result has slightly shifted the standings in the Drivers' Championship, intensifying the battle at the top. Oscar Piastri remains the championship leader but now holds just a narrow 3-point advantage over his McLaren teammate, Lando Norris. Piastri sits at 161 points, while Norris is close behind with 158. In 3rd place, Max Verstappen now has 136 points, trailing the 2 McLaren drivers after his 4th place finish at the Monaco GP. Following Verstappen in the standings, we have George Russell in 4th with 99 points. Next comes Charles Leclerc with 83, followed by Lewis Hamilton, who has accumulated 63 points so far this season. Kimi Antonelli holds 7th place with 48 points, while Alex Albon continues to impress with 42 points in 8th. Esteban Ocon sits in 9th with 20 points, and Isaac Hadjar rounds out the top 10 with 15 points. As for the drivers yet to score any points this season, that list includes Fernando Alonso, Jack Doohan, who is no longer part of Alpine, Franco Colapinto, and Gabriel Bortoleto. These drivers are still striving for their first points of the campaign as we move further into the European phase of the season. Turning now to the Constructors' Championship, McLaren holds a commanding lead with 319 points. Mercedes remains in second place with 147 points, while Red Bull trails closely behind with 143 points. Red Bull's struggle this season is largely due to effectively competing with just one driver. Yuki Tsunoda has not been able to consistently secure points as the team had hoped, which has significantly impacted their position in the standings. Looking at both the drivers' and constructors' standings, what do you think? Do you believe there's still room for major twists and turns as we continue through the European leg of the Formula One season? Or do you think McLaren, with Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris, will dominate and ultimately battle each other for the titles this year? The championship battle certainly seems to be heating up, especially with Norris now just a few points shy of overtaking Piastri. Meanwhile, Verstappen finds himself needing to make up ground quickly if he hopes to stay in contention. The constructors' standings also reflect McLaren's current dominance, but Mercedes and Red Bull are not out of the fight yet, especially with the potential for mid-season upgrades and strategic shifts. So, how do you see the rest of the season playing out? Will McLaren maintain their impressive form, or will another team step up to challenge them? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to stay tuned. We'll be bringing you all the latest news, updates, and analysis from the world of Formula One every single day. Hey my friends, how's it going? We're kicking off another race week, still reflecting on everything that happened during the Monaco Grand Prix this past weekend. A race that left many drivers extremely dissatisfied, including Max Verstappen, who is the main focus of this video. So, to make sure you don't miss anything this week, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because we'll have daily updates for you. The Monaco Grand Prix introduced a significant change this season, with Formula One mandating at least 2 pit stops for each team. The idea behind this rule adjustment was to make the race more unpredictable, encourage diverse strategies, and, hopefully, minimize the biggest criticism that Monaco is essentially a procession with very few overtaking opportunities. However, despite all these efforts, and while the race certainly had more strategic movement, the actual order of the drivers, especially at the front, didn't change much. In the end, the race turned out to be more confusing than exciting. Given that overtaking on track is nearly impossible in Monaco, Max Verstappen, who started from 4th on the grid, opted for a bold and unconventional strategy. He delayed his final mandatory pit stop until the very last lap, hoping that a red flag might occur, allowing him to make the required tire change for free and maintain the lead to win the race. Unfortunately for Verstappen, that scenario didn't play out. With no red flags appearing, he was forced to make his stop and rejoin the race in the same 4th position he had started. After the race, Verstappen was very candid in his comments, stating that it's practically impossible to race properly in Monaco anymore. He emphasized that it doesn't matter whether drivers make 1 or even 10 pit stops, because the core issue is the lack of overtaking opportunities on the track. Verstappen explained that towards the end of the race, he was running on completely worn-out tires, yet even with his significantly reduced pace, no one could pass him. This situation perfectly illustrated his point, that regardless of strategy, track position reigns supreme at Monaco. He went further, adding a bit of sarcasm to his frustration, suggesting that the only way to enable overtaking in Monaco would be to use cars smaller than those currently deployed in Formula 2. Verstappen openly criticized the sport's attempts to make the Monaco race more entertaining, comparing the situation to playing Mario Kart. He joked that soon they might as well start throwing banana peels around the circuit to make things more slippery and perhaps create some chaos to liven up the event. Clearly, Verstappen left Monaco far from satisfied with what he experienced, frustrated by a track that he feels no longer allows for proper racing, regardless of how many changes are made to pit stop rules or tire strategies. His comments reflect a broader debate within the F1 community about Monaco's place on the calendar, whether the prestige and history of the event are enough to justify its continued inclusion, given its inherent limitations when it comes to on-track action. But what about you? Did you also find the Monaco Grand Prix disappointing despite the rule changes aimed at making it more engaging, or did you actually enjoy the race the way it played out? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. The conversation around Monaco is always a passionate one, with some seeing it as an irreplaceable jewel of the sport, while others argue that it no longer fits modern Formula One. We'd love to hear where you stand. And of course, stay tuned to the channel, because we'll be bringing you all the latest updates and news from the world of Formula One every single day.